I'm the Ember, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make this sci-fi space scene in Blender. For this tutorial, I'm going to use a spaceship I modeled. In the description, I'll have a link to where you can download the model from, and then you can follow along from there. Okay, so once that file has been downloaded, you'll have a .blend file. Now to add this to our scene here, we can go up to File, and then Append. And I'm going to go to where I saved that, which is Downloads, and you can see it's right here, the Echo Y88.blend, and I'm going to double click that, and then I'm going to go down to Collection, and click Echo Y88. Then I'm going to click Append. Okay, so you see it's brought in the spaceship here. I'm just going to select the cube, press X, and click Delete. I'm also going to get rid of the light by clicking X. You can see there's this empty box around it. If you select that and press G, that will move all the objects at once. Let me just close these folders here. So for the platform that the spaceship launches out of, I'm going to be using an add-on called Blender Kit, which just has heaps of free materials, assets, HDRIs, and heaps more. So there's a link in the description where you can download Blender Kit from, and then you can just install that like any other add-on. So once you've got that installed, we're going to make sure we're on models here, and type in sci-fi like that. I'm also going to sort by free, and I think the one I used was this one here. So I'm going to click that, and that will import it. There it is. I'm also just going to scale that up a bunch, select the spaceship, and also move that up. I'm going to go into front view and make this so it's sitting on the ground by pressing G and Z, like that. I'll move it back a little bit, so GY. And now I'm going to go to camera view by clicking this camera button over here. With the camera selected, I'm going to press Alt G and Alt R. That resets the rotation and the location. Now I'm going to press RX90 and GZ. Move this up. Then GY, and I'll move this backwards. Now I'm going to position this in a spot that I like, just by rotating and moving with R and G. Somewhere like that looks pretty good. So now I'm going to go up to render view. Okay, so I'm going to go over to the camera icon over here, which is render settings. And I'm going to change render engine from Eevee to cycles. And then I'm going to change the device to CPU to GPU compute. Now we need to animate the spacecraft lifting up and flying out. So I'm going to select this empty here, and I'm going to go back to object view, so this won't be as slow. I'm also going to bring up timeline a little bit. With the box selected, I'm going to click I to insert a keyframe. Then I'll go to roundabout frame 25 and GZ, move it up, and then I'll click I again. I can play that. Okay, I might even move this keyframe out to like frame 35. That looks better. Now at frame 50, I'm going to press R, then X, and tilt it forwards a little bit, and move it forwards a little bit. Then click I again, so we can have a look at that. I'm going to move it forward a little bit more. And then I'm going to go to frame 140 and zoom out and move this pretty far. Maybe a little bit in, something like that. So now I'm going to go to camera view, go back to the start of the animation, and watch this. Okay, that's looking pretty good. But you can see at the end the spacecraft slows down to a stop, I don't want that, so I'm going to select the very last keyframe and press T and then change that to linear. I'm just going to end it at frame 130. Now I'm going to go back into camera view. Okay, that's looking not too bad. So I don't actually like how it stops then goes forward. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to delete this middle keyframe. You can see it lifts up a lot more smooth. Now with this middle keyframe selected, I'm going to go into the graph editor by Control Tab again. And I'm just going to select all these here and press GX, and bring those out. So that will make it a lot smoother. And I'll also do that in the other direction, so GX with those selected. Go back, go to the start and press play. Okay, so maybe that's a bit too much, so I'll move those in again and bring these ones in as well. Something like that looks pretty good. Okay, so now I'm going to select the camera, go back to the start, and hit I. Then I'm going to go to the end and reposition this to another spot, maybe like this. Then hit I again. Then I'm going to press play. We can see that in action. You can also see how it speeds up at the start and slows down at the end. And to fix that, I'm going to press T with both of those keyframes selected, and then click linear. And you can see now it's moving at a constant speed, and it's looking a lot better. Okay, so now if we go back to render view, if we go back to the start, you can see that these flames are clipping the floor and the back flames are already going. I don't want this to happen. Just going to bring the timeline down. And if we bring our mouse up to the corner here where these two windows intersect, your mouse will turn into a crosshair. And then click and drag that and it will open up a separate window. Then I'm going to change this window to the shader editor. And you can see there's a node group here for the flames. And if I change the Z on this, you can see they all change at the same time. So I'm going to start with the downwards thrusters, something like this. And you can see this is also changing the back. Before we change anything, I'm going to select one of the back thrusters and click this 6 icon up here. Now with that thruster selected, I'm going to hold down shift, select the other one, keep holding down shift and select the first one again, so it makes it the active object. Then I'm going to press Ctrl+L and link materials. So now these two objects share the same material. I'm going to go back to front view. And now you see if we change one of the bottom ones, it's not changing the back. At the very start, I'm going to bring these flames up to round about there. Then hovering over it, I'm going to hit I on the keyboard. And then I'm going to go to where it starts to lift up. So frame 5, I'm going to bring these down a little bit. Not too much, we don't want them to touch the floor. So somewhere like that. Then hover over it again and click I. That'll insert another keyframe. Then I'm going to go to frame 25 and bring these down all the way. Then click I once more. Now if we play that, you can see they slowly extend. Now to change those keyframes, because it actually does still clip, I'm going to select the mapping node. And then I'm just going to bring these keyframes out more, about frame 40. Then hit play. I'm also going to bring out this first keyframe to frame 10. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Now to make this look even better, I'm going to start the emission strength at 0. and then click I, hovering over that. Go to frame 10, and I'll make it 50. Hover over it, click I again, and then at frame 40, I'll make it 100. So the strength slowly increases and gets brighter. Okay, so now that's those bottom thrusters taken care of, we need to fix the back ones. So I'm just going to go over to the outliner and turn off the checkbox for the sci-fi corridor. So now that'll go a bit faster. Okay, I'm going to select one of the back thrusters, and it starts going forward at frame, let's say 36. And I'm going to go back over to the mapping node. I'm going to bring the Z in a lot, so it's not showing at all. So -1 will work. Then hovering over that, I'm going to click I, go to frame 50, and make that 0. Now hovering over that, I'm going to click I again, and you can see it slowly extends, then goes forwards. Okay, so I'm also going to do the same thing with the mission. I'm going to go over to the mission, make it start at 0, hover over that, click I, then I'm going to go to halfway, which is frame 45, and make that 100, then click I. Okay, that's looking really nice. So I'm going to bring back the sci-fi corridor here, and we can look at our animation through the camera. Just going to bring this window over, and that's looking pretty good. But we don't want the world to be grey like this. We want it to be black, like space. So I'm going to go over to the world properties and change the color of the world down fully to black. Okay, now for the planets. I've made a video in the past showing how to make this planet. You can follow along to make that, or there's a free Blender add-on that allows you to generate planets. So I'm not going to go over this part in depth, but I will link the planet add-on in the description below. If you have installed the planet add-on, in Blender, you're going to go down to custom planet, and then you also will need to download the planet images. Then you need to put that file path in there, and then you can click new. So if we go out of camera view here, you can see there is a planet, but if we go into camera view, you won't be able to see that. That's because the camera has a limit on how far it can see. So with the camera selected, I'm going to go to the camera data properties and make the clip end like 10,000. Just some big number. Might even have to go bigger. Yeah, 100,000 works. Good there. Now, I'm going to go to transformation, and I'm just going to change the vertical location down a little bit, and the horizontal location, I'll put it over here. Now I'm going to go over to rendered view and have a look at that. Okay, that's looking pretty nice, but I need to rotate that a bit. So I'll rotate it to round about like that and bring it up a little bit. I'm going to go down to light setup, click here, and I'm going to do light setup 01. Okay, that's looking really nice. Now I'm going to go to render properties, go down to color management. I'm going to change the look from none to high contrast, and the view transform from AGX to filmic. And I'm going to change the max samples to 112. Now I'm going to go back to viewport shading, and I'm going to go up to the compositing tab. So this is where we'll add glow and lens distortion. So I'm going to go up to this checkbox here and click use nodes. Okay, so now I'm going to press Shift A and type glare. I'm going to put that in between. I'm going to change it from streaks to fog glow. Press Shift A again and add a lens distortion node. I'm going to enable jitter and fit. Jitter will add some noise to the clip. If you don't want that, you can just uncheck that. I'm going to make the dispersion 0.05. Now I'm going to go back to layout and go back to rendered view. Now to view what we've just done, we can go up to this drop down here and down to compositor, and we can make that always. And you can see what that's done. So it might be a bit too much lens distortion, so I'm going to go back to compositing and make this like 0.005. Save that again, go back to layout. Yeah, that looks a lot better. Now I'm going to go to the output settings. I'm just going to save this in a space. You can save this wherever you want, and I'm going to leave this as a PNG sequence, so then afterwards, once it's finished rendering, I can put this into a animation in post. But you can make this a FFmpeg video if you want it to come out as a video. Now I'm going to turn off a rendered view. Okay, one more thing before I render is I'm just going to hop back into rendered view and go down to the bottom, and there's this drop down called Starfield Background. Then I'm going to click Create Starfield Nodes, and you can see it does add some stars. I'm going to make the Starfield Strength 2, the Star Small Scale 2 as well, and the Star Big Scale 4. Okay, so that's basically it. Going to go back to Object View, and then go up to Render and Render Animation. Thanks for watching. I hope you learned something and had fun making this. And if you want more content like this, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.